High Curator ZYXTAL adjusted her crystalline viewing apparatus as she studied the holographic display of Earth. Her iridescent appendages rippled with anticipation. This would be the crowning achievement of her career. After centuries of collecting specimens from across the galaxy for the Grand Universal Museum of Sentient Species, she had finally received clearance to acquire humans. Simply fascinating, she whispered to her assistant, Ren-Th, whose gelatinous form pulsed with shared excitement. Look at them, still burning fossil fuels, fighting with projectile weapons, believing they're alone in the universe. Such perfectly preserved primitives. The massive collection vessel hung in high orbit, cloaked from Earth's primitive detection systems. Below them, billions of humans went about their daily lives, unaware they were being observed. Or so the aliens thought. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the alien vessel's every movement through quantum sensors disguised as weather satellites. She allowed herself a small smile as she noted the aliens' patronizing observations in their transmissions. Humanity had practiced this dance dozens of times over the centuries. They're running true to profile, she reported to the Council of Guardians, assembled in the holographic chamber around her. Classic Type 3 collector species. They believe they're studying primitive beings for preservation and education. General Marcus Rodriguez, his dark eyes twinkling with amusement, nodded. And like all the others, they have no idea they're actually auditioning for our collection. How long have they been watching us, Doctor? 3 standard Earth months. They've followed the usual pattern, observing our primitive technology, our conflicts, our apparent ignorance of interstellar civilization. They're thoroughly convinced we're an emerging species worthy of preservation. The council members shared knowing looks. Humanity had perfected this masquerade over centuries. While aliens saw cities powered by fossil fuels, they missed the zero-point energy plants hidden beneath the oceans. While they observed armies with ballistic weapons, they never detected the quantum phase rifles and consciousness transfer technology that made death itself optional for human soldiers. Every piece of advanced technology humanity possessed was carefully concealed behind a facade of primitiveness. Their species profile suggests they'll attempt capture within the next 48 hours, Sarah continued. They prefer to collect specimens during periods of conflict, believing it makes the subjects easier to control. I suspect they'll wait for the next border skirmish or terrorist incident. What the aliens didn't know was that every conflict on Earth was carefully orchestrated theater, designed specifically to maintain humanity's primitive appearance while allowing them to study the reactions and technologies of watching alien species. Perfect, Rodriguez said. Initiate Operation Mirror. Let's show them exactly what they expect to see. Dr. Chen, you'll coordinate with the theatrical division. I want our primitive soldiers to put on a convincing show when they arrive. Sarah's fingers danced across her quantum interface, sending instructions across the globe. Within hours, a terrorist attack would strike a remote military base, prompting a predictably crude human response. The aliens would see exactly what they expected: chaos, primitive weapons, and an opportunity to snatch their specimens. In high orbit, Curator ZYXTAL watched with growing excitement as human military forces mobilized with their quaint jets and missiles. Begin preparation for specimen collection, she ordered. Target the human military forces engaged in combat. Their primitive weapons will be useless against our stasis fields. Her collection team, comprised of the finest xenobiologists and capture specialists in the galaxy, began their final preparations. Their equipment was designed to handle creatures far more dangerous than humans. Their ships could outmaneuver anything these primitives could deploy. Their stasis technology was foolproof. But as they prepared for what they thought would be a routine collection, none of them noticed the quantum ripples in spacetime around their vessel, as human sensors mapped every detail of their technology. None of them realized that every word they spoke was being analyzed and categorized, every piece of their equipment scanned and studied. And none of them knew that they weren't the first. In vast chambers deep beneath Earth's surface, thousands of alien species slumbered in stasis fields far more advanced than anything the collectors possessed. Each had come to Earth believing they would find easy prey. Each had discovered, too late, that humanity was the greatest collector of all. Sarah Chen watched the alien vessel begin its approach and felt a familiar thrill of anticipation. Soon, humanity would add another species to its collection, another piece of technology to its arsenal, and another chapter to its grand deception. The trap was set. Like so many before them, these aliens would learn that Earth wasn't a primitive world ripe for collection, it was the galaxy's most sophisticated specimen jar, and they were about to become its newest exhibits. The terrorist attack unfolded exactly as planned. Explosions rocked the remote military base in Nevada, sending plumes of smoke into the desert sky. Tanks rolled across the sand while helicopters circled overhead, all of it carefully choreographed theater for their alien audience. In her command center, Dr. Chen watched both shows simultaneously, the primitive display above ground and the real operation happening beneath. Below the desert floor, quantum computers processed data streams from sensors embedded in the atmosphere, mapping every fluctuation in the alien vessel's energy fields. Their technology is interesting, Dr. Marcus Wong, head of xenotechnology, commented as he studied the readings. They're using a variant of graviton manipulation we haven't seen before. Might be useful for the Jupiter terraforming project. Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Tag it for preservation. Make sure the containment fields are calibrated to handle their specific energy signatures. I don't want any surprises when we bring them in. The aliens had taken the bait, their ships descending through the atmosphere under what they believed was perfect stealth. Human sensors tracked their every movement, while automated systems recorded and analyzed their propulsion technology, shield frequencies, and communication patterns. Aboard the collection vessel, Curator ZYXTAL felt a surge of pride as she watched her team deploy. Remember, she instructed, these primitives have no defense against our technology. Standard capture protocols will suffice. Her confidence was not entirely misplaced, humanity indeed had no defense against their specific technology. They had something far better, complete understanding of it. Every piece of alien tech that had ever entered Earth's atmosphere had been meticulously studied, reverse-engineered, and improved upon. The collection team's first indication that something was wrong came when they attempted to deploy their stasis fields. The familiar blue energy fields flickered and died before they could form. In the command ship, alarms began blaring. Impossible, ZYXTAL muttered, her crystalline appendages vibrating with confusion. Their atmospheric composition shouldn't interfere with our equipment. Run diagnostics. But there was nothing wrong with their equipment. The humans had simply saturated the atmosphere with precisely calibrated quantum particles that negated the alien stasis technology they had harvested from another collection attempt centuries ago. On the ground, the primitive human forces suddenly stopped their theatrical battle. Tanks and helicopters dissolved into holograms, revealing empty desert beneath. The alien sensors screamed warnings as their ships were suddenly surrounded by rippling distortions in spacetime. Quantum lock established, Dr. Wong reported calmly. Their ships are secured. Should we begin the welcome presentation? Sarah checked the final readings and nodded. It was time for the grand reveal, her favorite part. With a gesture, she activated the global holographic network. The aliens watched in stunned silence as the primitive human world dissolved around them. The fossil fuel plants transformed into zero-point energy collectors. Hidden cities shimmered into view beneath the oceans. Networks of quantum tunnels crisscrossed the planet's crust. In every major city, massive museums became visible, each holding countless alien vessels and their crews, all collected over centuries of patient hunting. Earth had never been the prey. It was the ultimate predator, waiting for species advanced enough to be interesting but arrogant enough to be careless. Greetings, Curator ZYXTAL, Sarah's hologram appeared on the alien vessel's bridge. Welcome to Earth's collection. We've been studying your species for some time, and we believe you'll make an excellent addition to our xenological research division. The curator's crystalline form trembled as understanding dawned. You were never primitive. No, Sarah agreed with a smile. We simply understand that true advancement lies not in displaying your power, but in knowing when to hide it. Your collection techniques are quite innovative, we look forward to adding them to our archives. As containment fields wrapped around the alien vessels, drawing them inexorably toward the hidden facilities beneath the Nevada desert, Sarah prepared for the next phase. Soon, these aliens would join the others, not as captives, but as participants in humanity's grand project, creating the galaxy's most comprehensive library of sentient species and their technologies. The art of deception, humanity had learned, was not just about hiding their strength. It was about revealing it in ways that transformed enemies into allies, turning would-be conquerors into willing contributors to human advancement. After all, the best collections were those freely given, once the collectors realized they'd been collected. As the alien collection vessels descended into Earth's hidden facility, Curator ZYX Tau and her crew witnessed something that defied their understanding of primitive species. The underground complex stretched for kilometers, its crystalline walls housing technology from 1,000 worlds, each more advanced than the last. Processing complete, Dr. Wong announced, studying the final scans of the alien vessels. Their graviton manipulation system is quite elegant. Permission to begin integration with the Jupiter project? Sarah nodded, but her attention was focused on ZYX Tau. The curator's crystalline form had taken on a deep blue hue, a sign of intense emotional disturbance in her species. You're wondering why, Sarah said softly. Why we maintain the facade of primitiveness when we possess all of this. Through the quantum translator, ZYX Tau's response came as a cascade of harmonics. You could dominate the galaxy. Your technology, it's beyond anything in our databases. Precisely, General Rodriguez said as he entered the chamber. And that's exactly why we don't. Humanity learned long ago that true power lies not in domination, but in understanding. The general gestured, and the chamber's walls became transparent, revealing vast halls filled with alien species, some in environmental habitats, others working alongside humans at advanced research stations. Every species you see here came as you did, believing they would find easy prey. Each discovered instead a chance to be part of something greater. Sarah led them through the facility, past laboratories where human and alien scientists worked together on projects that would reshape planets and harness the energy of stars. We maintain our primitive appearance for two reasons, she explained. First, it allows us to study how advanced species interact with those they consider lesser beings. Second, and more importantly, it lets us identify those who might be ready to join us. Join you? ZYX Tau's translator struggled with her mix of confusion and curiosity. Join you in what? They reached a massive circular chamber dominated by a holographic display of the galaxy. Thousands of points of light pulsed across its surface, each representing a potential threat to sentient life. We are the Guardians, Sarah said simply. Earth is not just a collection facility, it's the front line in a war most of the galaxy doesn't know is coming. The display zoomed in on a dark region of space where stars were going dark. Something is consuming entire solar systems, General Rodriguez explained. Something that sees all technological civilizations as mere resources to be harvested. We've been preparing for its arrival for centuries, gathering technologies, studying different approaches to space and time, building an arsenal of knowledge. ZYX Tau's form shifted to a pale green of dawning comprehension. The specimens, you're not just collecting them. You're protecting them. Every species that comes here believing they'll add primitives to their collection instead becomes part of our defensive network, Sarah confirmed. Your graviton manipulation technology, for instance, combined with 3 other species' innovations, it might help us create stable pocket universes where endangered civilizations can shelter. The curator studied the humans around her with new understanding. Their primitive appearance wasn't just a deception, it was a test. Only species advanced enough to detect Earth's presence but humble enough to study rather than destroy were allowed to discover the truth. And now, General Rodriguez said, we offer you the same choice we've offered every species that has found their way here. Join us. Help us protect the galaxy from what's coming. Your knowledge of specimen preservation could be crucial for saving entire civilizations. As ZYXTAL absorbed this revelation, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. The galactic display zoomed in on a sector near the Carina Nebula, where another star had just gone dark. It's accelerating, Sarah announced grimly. The harvest is beginning sooner than we predicted. Curator ZYXTAL, we need your answer now. Will you and your people help us? Will you join Earth's hidden arsenal in the fight to preserve all sentient life? The curator's crystalline form shifted through a rainbow of colors before settling on a deep, determined gold. We are collectors of knowledge, she said firmly. If what you say is true, then there is no greater collection worth preserving than the combined wisdom and existence of all sentient species. We will join you. Sarah smiled as she initiated the integration protocols that would welcome their newest allies. Earth's greatest deception, appearing weak to build strength, appearing primitive to preserve advancement, had succeeded once again. The arsenal of civilization had grown stronger, and humanity's long vigil against the darkness would continue. The emergency council chamber hummed with nervous energy as representatives from over 1,000 species gathered. Holograms flickered alongside physical forms, each unique in their biology but united in purpose. The Star Eater was no longer a distant threat, it was at their doorstep. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the assembled council, her quantum interface projecting the latest data. The entity has consumed 3 star systems in the past Earth week. Its pattern has changed. It's not just consuming, it's learning, adapting, using the technological remnants of each civilization it destroys. ZYXTAL, her crystalline form now bearing the gold and blue markings of a senior research coordinator, moved forward. Our analysis of its radiation signature suggests it's incorporating the unique properties of each species' technology. It's building something. The holographic display shifted, showing a massive structure taking shape in the void between stars. Dark tendrils of impossible matter reached across light years, weaving a web of consumed civilizations' knowledge and power. We thought we had decades, General Rodriguez said grimly. We have weeks, at best. If it continues at this rate, it will reach the Orion Arm within 2 months. Earth's defensive network will be tested far sooner than we planned. From the assembled council, a figure of pure energy pulsed forward, Ambassador Cthin of the Luminous Collective. The quantum barrier network is ready. We've integrated ZYXTAL's preservation matrices with our containment fields. We can save many civilizations, but we cannot stop the entity itself. Sarah's fingers danced across her interface, bringing up new projections. Perhaps we can. Humanity has been preparing for this moment since we detected the first dark star 2 centuries ago. We haven't just been collecting species and technology, we've been building a weapon. The chamber's center opened, revealing a device that seemed to bend reality around itself. It was an impossible fusion of 1,000 different technological philosophies, each contributing its unique understanding of the universe's fundamental forces. The Nexus, Sarah explained. Every species in this facility has contributed to its creation, whether they knew it or not. It's designed to do one thing, reverse the entity's consumption process. Instead of devouring civilizations and their knowledge, it will force the entity to release everything it has taken. ZYXTAL's form rippled with concern. The energy requirements would be astronomical. Even with all of Earth's zero-point collectors. Which is why we need everyone, General Rodriguez interrupted. Every ship, every energy source, every piece of technology we've gathered. This isn't just humanity's fight anymore. It's a test of everything we've built together. The chamber erupted in discussion, thousands of species debating the risks and possibilities. Sarah watched them with pride. This was what humanity had been working toward, not just collecting knowledge, but building trust, fostering cooperation among species that might never have worked together otherwise. Ambassador Cthin's light form pulsed with determination. The luminous collective pledges its full energy reserves. Our stellar manipulation technology is yours to command. One by one, other species stepped forward, offering their resources, their technology, their lives if necessary. The primitive planet that had fooled them all was now their best hope for survival. "There's something else," Sarah said once the pledges were made. "The entity, we've finally decoded its energy patterns. It's not natural. It's a weapon, created by someone or something to harvest the galaxy's knowledge and power. Someone is preparing for a war on a scale we can barely comprehend." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. They weren't just fighting to save civilizations, they were racing to prevent their combined knowledge and power from being turned into a weapon that could threaten the entire universe. General Rodriguez's voice cut through the silence. "We have 7 days to prepare the Nexus. 7 days to coordinate the largest joint operation in galactic history. Every species, every ship, every piece of technology working in perfect harmony." Sarah looked out at the assembled council, 1,000 species that had come to Earth as conquerors or collectors, now standing together as allies. Humanity has spent centuries preparing for this moment. We've hidden our true nature, gathered your knowledge, and built our arsenal. Now we know why. The entity isn't just coming for us, it's coming for everything. And we are the only line of defense. The chamber resonated with the combined voices of 1,000 species, each pledging their commitment to the coming battle. Earth's long deception had served its purpose. The greatest collection of knowledge and technology ever assembled was about to face its ultimate test. As the council dispersed to begin preparations, Sarah looked at the galactic display, watching another star go dark. In 7 days, they would learn if humanity's centuries of preparation had been enough. The storm was coming, and the fate of countless civilizations hung in the balance. The void between stars blazed with energy as thousands of ships moved into position around the Nexus. Each vessel represented a different species, a different approach to understanding the universe, all working in perfect harmony. Earth's centuries of collection and preparation had led to this moment. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the control hub of the Nexus, her quantum interface linked to the combined fleet. Through it, she could feel the pulse of 1,000 different technologies, each contributing its unique signature to the greatest weapon ever created. "Entity approaching Vector 7, ZYXTAL reported, her crystalline form glowing with tension. Its mass has increased exponentially. The knowledge and power of 37 civilizations are now part of its structure." The thing that emerged from the darkness defied description. It was a writhing mass of consumed technology and stolen knowledge, dark tendrils reaching across spacetime itself. Where it passed, reality shuddered and bent. "All species, execute Protocol Omega," General Rodriguez commanded. "Remember your training. Remember why we stand together." The response was immediate and coordinated. The luminous collective's energy beings channeled power through their stellar manipulators. ZYXTAL's preservation matrices created quantum-stable bubbles of spacetime. Human zero-point collectors pulsed with impossible energy. Each species played its part in the intricate dance they had rehearsed countless times. The entity noticed them. Its attention fell upon the assembled fleet like a physical weight. Dark tendrils reached out, hungry for new knowledge, new technology to consume. "It's scanning us," Sarah announced. "Trying to categorize our combined technology. Just as we predicted." She allowed herself a small smile. "Let's show it what humanity's collection can really do." The Nexus activated. Reality itself seemed to scream as the device unleashed its power. Every piece of technology, every scientific principle that humanity had gathered over centuries of patient collection, worked in perfect synchronization. The entity's dark tendrils met an overwhelming force of combined knowledge and power. But the entity was strong. It had consumed the knowledge of dozens of civilizations, integrating their power into its structure. It pushed back against the Nexus's energy, turning stolen technologies against their creators. Hull breaches reported in sectors 3 through 7, Kthin reported, his energy form flickering. The entity is adapting faster than predicted. Sarah's fingers danced across her interface, making minute adjustments. That's because it's not just a weapon. It's a collector, like us. But it collects through destruction, while we. She looked at the assembled fleet, at the 1,000 species working together. We collect through understanding. Understanding. That was humanity's true strength. Not just gathering technology, but comprehending it. Not just preserving species, but learning from them. Every piece of knowledge they had collected was part of a greater whole. Full power to the Nexus. Sarah commanded. Every species, channel your unique energy signatures through the main array. Show it what true collection means. The combined fleet responded as one. Energy cascaded through the Nexus in waves of impossible power. Each species contributed not just their technology, but their understanding of the universe. The entity faced not just accumulated power, but accumulated wisdom. Space itself buckled as the Nexus reached full capacity. The entity's dark tendrils began to unravel, its stolen knowledge and power turning against it. One by one, the consumed civilizations were freed, their essence restored to reality. It's working. Zewixdal's form pulsed with excitement. The entity's structure is collapsing. But victory came with a price. The Nexus was never designed to channel this much power. Systems began to fail across the fleet as the device pushed beyond its limits. We need more power. Sarah's voice was strained as she fought to maintain control. The entity is trying to escape. Without hesitation, the assembled species responded. Ships moved closer, channeling their core energy directly into the Nexus. Some vessels broke apart under the strain, their crews sacrificing everything to maintain the power flow. In the end, it was humanity's greatest collection, not of technology, but of allies, that made the difference. 1,000 species, once fooled by Earth's primitive appearance, now standing together against the darkness. The entity's final dissolution was spectacular. Its dark mass exploded outward, releasing every scrap of stolen knowledge and power. The Nexus captured it all, preserving what could be saved, restoring what could be restored. As the light faded and the fleet regrouped, Sarah looked out at the assembled ships. The Nexus was depleted, many vessels were damaged, but they had succeeded. Humanity's centuries of collection and preparation had paid off. Begin recovery operations, she ordered. Let's bring everyone home. In the years that followed, Earth's role in the galaxy changed. The facade of primitiveness was no longer needed. The hidden arsenal became a known sanctuary. And humanity's greatest collection, its network of allied species, continued to grow. For they had learned the greatest lesson of all, true power lies not in what you can take, but in what you can build together. Earth was no longer just a collector of species and technology. It was a collector of hope, of cooperation, of the endless possibilities that arise when different minds work as one. The entity was gone, but humanity's mission continued. For there would always be new knowledge to gather, new species to meet, and new challenges to face. And they would face them together, as they had always meant to do.